Why are you here? You didn't end up at this stage in your life by accident. The decision to continue from your middle school years to your high school years might not have felt like a decision at all. You finished 8th grade, and the next step was 9th grade. After 9th grade, 10th grade. You're a 5th former, then you're a 6th former. But not everyone in the world makes that decision. So why are you here? I ask you that question because for most of my high school career, I couldn't have answered it. All I knew was that I wanted to be impressive. To set the scene, and you're not ready for this and I'm not ready for this, here's my very early 2000s high school senior portrait. None of us are ready for that. I had the opportunity to attend a prep school as a faculty kid. So when I was in the 8th grade, my parents convinced me to apply. And when I got my acceptance letter, they convinced me that I needed to take the offer. I didn't particularly want to make that move. I liked my friends, and I was upset about having to leave them. I agreed to give it until Thanksgiving. And I hated prep school. But when Thanksgiving arrived, I agreed to give it until winter break. And then I got to winter break, and I realized that I was going to get enough out of the experience that I should probably stick it out. I came to really love it, and I wouldn't trade it for anything, but it was not an easy start. As I made the transition into prep school, my approach was to be as polished and put together as possible. I needed to do every assignment perfectly. Good enough meant checking every box and ensuring that teachers would have nothing negative to say about me. It was important to me that my peers and my teachers were impressed every day. My mom can recount stories of me sitting at the kitchen table in a full meltdown over not finding exactly the right source for a research paper, or not being able to get my slides to do exactly what I wanted them to do for my oral presentation, or not having any idea how to get the right answer when I was factoring quadratics. I didn't believe my teachers when they said that I should only do what I could manage and that I should come to class with questions. I needed things to be perfect when I got to class. Showing any weakness did not feel like an option. If I was going to volunteer an answer, I needed to know it was right. If I was going to ask a question, it needed to be the smartest question anyone could ask. I spent a lot of time trying to perfect my approach to school as a game. I refined my approach to showing up to class with the right amount of work done, so I could get the right grade and receive the right positive feedback from my teachers. I had a really strong short-term memory, so I looked over the material the night before the tests and I did well. And all of it worked. Sort of. The person in that senior portrait is airbrushed in more ways than one. I had made it to my senior year. My grades were still good, although 3 years of studying the night before tests had left me with some gaps in my knowledge. I was a multi-sport athlete, I was a team captain, I was a performer in music groups, I was a theater technician. I knew I would soon reach a point at which I'd have to tell the world I was gay, but that didn't fit my narrative, so I embraced being fully in the closet. I was burning the candle at both ends and using all my energy to manage my image. I was impressive at maintaining an airbrushed exterior. This next version of me, which is not airbrushed, but is wearing quite a lot of stage makeup, is so tired, y'all, just like barely holding it together. I'm trying desperately to remember all the lines of Wadsworth the butler in Clue while recovering from a concussion from wrestling and trying desperately not to fail my AP physics class. But he's starting to realize why he's showing up, that version of me. Finally, in my senior year, I was figuring out why I was playing the game. This realization dawned gradually. It was morning rows and team breakfasts. It was endless video calls with my friend Nikki while we worked through mystifying homework assignments in AP Physics. The reality is that she taught me how to do AP Physics. I was trying my hand on stage instead of just backstage. I was working on the magazine. I was doing all of this work so that I could be part of a team. I was working hard so I could give something back to my friends, to my teammates, to my community. I needed to put in the work to really learn things so I could show up for others. Studying a list of information the night before a test, that was just for me. Doing the minimum work to get a good grade would not benefit anyone else. But learning how concepts interact, and learning how knowledge builds on itself, that was how I could be there for others. Those were the skills that would let me give back. I had started to learn why. And that brought me to something that looks a little more like the version of me from this photo. My brother had just been born, I don't know, weeks or months earlier. He was so tiny. I was helping. I was on the team that was helping my brother feel like part of this family. And in beginning to understand my why as I went through my prep school journey, I started to see that the skills I was developing to support others on a micro scale were the same skills that we need to understand and contribute to the world on a macro scale. Paulo Freire wrote in Pedagogy of the Oppressed that knowledge emerges only through invention and reinvention, through the endless, restless, impatient, hopeful inquiry human beings pursue in the world, with the world, and with each other. You have an incredible opportunity to use your learning to understand the history that is unfolding at a breakneck pace. There are periods in Earth's history where nothing happened. Millions and millions of years passed, and nothing. In our lives, we experience events every day that could reshape history in unimaginable ways. In the last 2 weeks, conservative activist Charlie Kirk was assassinated. The UK, Canada, and Australia recognized a Palestinian state. US legislators are in a power struggle and on the verge of a government shutdown. Apple released consumer headphones that can live translate language in your ear as it's happening. That's 2 weeks of time. Those are all reshaping history, all of those things. There is no time in history when knowing how our world works has been more important than it is right now. There has never been a time when history unfolded so rapidly, with news of its unfolding delivered to us so immediately. To understand these moments requires more than facts remembered for an assessment. Learning about rhetoric and information literacy and race relations and civics and the history of religion and partisanship in the United States are all part of understanding why Charlie Kirk was such a potent figure and why the reaction to his assassination has been so polarized. On the other side, to create a headphone that translates audio, that's not coding, that's a cross-functional team that understands coding and AI and language and culture and sociology. Nothing is only one thing. Learning a fact to ace a test is not what leads to understanding. Learning is not about performance, it's about purpose. This is why we have our community pledge. The pledge affirms our commitment to learning and living together and supporting each other. You'll all sign the pledge during advisory time in the next couple of weeks, and this morning the prefects have agreed to read the text for you. Callista, take it away.
As Brooksians, we start from a place of goodwill and respect, and we strive to earn and foster each other's trust.
The relationships and community we build together make Brook School a meaningful educational experience.
We individually and collectively commit to these goals. By signing my name, I pledge that.
You can trust me to respect you, including your identity, well-being, and right to think freely.
You can trust me to respect your property.
You can trust me to contribute to safe and productive learning and living environments.
You can trust me to conduct myself with academic integrity. This means I will indicate when I receive help on an assignment,
Including assistance from peers, teachers, family members, tutors, AI, any other source.
And on my submitted assignments, I'll write, "This is my honest work."
You can trust me to be empathetic, honest, and trustworthy as a Brooksian within and beyond our community.
Thank you, prefects. The community pledge describes the foundation of trust that we have and that we will continue to build together. We have rules about academic integrity, and they exist to protect that trust. If you cheat on an assessment, if you plagiarize a paper, if you use AI to do work that you should have done yourself, there are consequences. And there's a big difference between using AI to brainstorm or study and using AI to do work for you. Rule violations undermine the work that we are here to do together. They undermine that understanding. If you have questions about the rules, talk to your teacher, talk to your advisor, come and talk to me. We all want to help you understand how to get these things right. On the other hand, mistakes are central to learning and growing. So when you make a mistake, we're going to include restorative practices in the consequences so you can learn from it and move forward and be part of this community. Separately from rules and consequences, we need to also celebrate the importance of original authorship and the collaboration that is inherent in academics. You may feel like it's your responsibility to know everything, to possess all the knowledge, and to get the right answer as quickly as possible. We do not expect you to know everything. We do not expect you to already be able to do something that you haven't yet learned to do. We don't expect you to write a research paper without help. What we do expect is that you will tell us where you find information, who helps you, and what your process looks like. There is so much to celebrate when you write, "I received help from my roommate," on the bottom of a homework assignment. And there is so much to celebrate when you footnote that key piece of information that leads to the profound crux of your essay. That profound point is so much more meaningful when you've got just the right source that gets you there, and we can see where it comes from. So let's go back to why. As you think about your reason why you are here, I hope you will find that you value your own voice and the knowledge and connections you've built. I hope you find that violating academic integrity expectations is a rejection of your own voice, that it's an admission that someone else's answer is more valuable than yours, that using someone else's answer is more valuable than your own learning. With that in mind, this is a perfect opportunity to tell you that in the writing of this talk, I received help from Google Gemini, which at first tried to flatter me, and then I said, "Don't flatter me," and then it was so helpful. My friends, Belle and Amadee, and my partner, who was reading this talk until like 11:30 last night for me. The AI tool, combined with human beings I trust, are what made this work in a way that feels okay to me this morning. That brings us back to the difference between the what and the why. The what is the rules. It's the authorship, it's the policies, it's the consequences, it's the pledge. You can follow those rules and expectations, and they'll keep you out of trouble. You can follow them out of obligation, and you'll be okay. But is staying out of trouble your only motivation? Is that your why? Is that the limit of your goals? Does any of it matter if you don't know why you're here? The why is the reason you do the work in the first place. The why is what helps you arrive at deep, meaningful learning. The why is what helps you find the joy in these moments. What I've learned about my why is that working in schools has layers and layers of meaning. I started to find my why in prep school, and it continues now. I am here because of what an incredible time this is in your lives as you learn and grow and stretch to find your place in the world. I show up every day because I think it's important to help support you and the adults working with you along that journey. And none of us can tell you why, but I can't wait to see as you find that why for yourselves. Thanks.